The light bulb in the bedroom pulsed in time with her heartbeat. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, a trick of a tired mind trying too hard to find patterns in the dark. The room was quiet in that suffocating way it only ever is past midnight, when the world outside seems to have folded in on itself. No cars, no voices, just the faint electrical hum threaded through the walls, like something breathing behind plaster. I lay on my back, staring at the ceiling. Thump. The light brightened, just a fraction. Thump. It dimmed again. I pressed my tongue to the roof of my mouth, listening inward. The rhythm was unmistakable, my pulse, steady and slow from the edge of sleep. Thump. Bright. Thump. Dim. A perfect match. I sat up. The bedsheets whispered against my legs, the fabric cold and faintly damp with the heat I'd left behind. The bulb hung naked from its socket, no shade, no cover, casting a pale, anemic glow that seemed to swell and shrink with each beat in my chest. I held my breath. For a moment, everything stilled. The hum, the pulse in my ears, even the faint ringing silence of the room. The light froze with me, suspended mid-glow. Then my lungs betrayed me. I inhaled sharply. Thump. The bulb surged brighter. A chill slid through me, slow and deliberate, like fingers pressing into my spine. No, I whispered, though there was no one to hear it. I swung my legs over the side of the bed. The wooden floor was colder than it should have been, and the air felt thick, as if it resisted my movement. Each step toward the switch seemed louder than it should, the creak of the boards echoing too long, too deep. Thump. Bright. Thump. Dim. I reached the wall and flipped the switch. Darkness swallowed the room. For a second, I exhaled in relief. Then, thump. A dull glow bloomed from above, faint but undeniable. Thump. Brighter. I looked up. The bulb was still pulsing. Not fully lit now, but not off either, just a soft, sickly glow that rose and fell with my heartbeat, like something alive but weakened, as if the switch had only wounded it. My fingers tightened around the plastic plate of the switch. I flicked it again, harder this time, as though force could make it behave. Nothing changed. Thump. Bright. Thump. Dim. Stop, I said, louder now. The word seemed to vanish before it reached the walls. My pulse began to climb. Thump thump. Bright bright. The light responded instantly, quicker now, sharper, each pulse more pronounced. The shadows along the corners of the room shuddered, stretching and snapping back in time with it. They no longer clung to the walls naturally, they seemed to lean, reaching inward, drawn by the rhythm. I stepped back. Thump thump thump. The light accelerated, matching me perfectly. Not a flicker, not a lag, exact. I grabbed the chair from the corner and dragged it beneath the bulb. The scrape of wood against floor sounded wrong, too long, like it echoed from somewhere deeper than the room itself. Climbing up, I reached for the bulb. The glass was warm, not hot like it should have been, just warm. Like skin. I hesitated, then twisted it free. The room plunged into darkness. For a breath, there was nothing. Then, thump, light. I gasped and nearly fell from the chair. The bulb was in my hand, unscrewed, disconnected, and yet it glowed. Dim, steady, pulsing. Each beat shone through my fingers, outlining the bones beneath my skin in a dull, reddish translucence. I dropped it. It didn't shatter. It landed with a soft, hollow sound, rolling once before coming to a stop. Still pulsing. Thump, glow, thump, fade. My chest tightened. No, no, no. I crouched down, staring at it. The glass wasn't reflecting light anymore, it was emitting something deeper, something thicker than illumination. The glow seemed to seep rather than shine, as if it came from within a liquid core. I reached out again, slower this time. The moment my fingers brushed it, the rhythm shifted. Faster. Thump thump thump. My breath hitched. It wasn't just matching me anymore. It was anticipating. I pulled my hand back, heart racing. The bulb raced with me, faster, brighter, the glow intensifying until the room pulsed in violent flashes. The shadows lunged forward with each beat, stretching unnaturally across the floor, their edges trembling like something straining against invisible restraints. I stumbled backward onto the bed. Stop, I said again, but the word cracked apart halfway through. The light didn't listen, or maybe it did, because the instant the thought crossed my mind, it's listening, the rhythm changed again. Slower, deliberate, thump, bright, a pause, longer than my heartbeat, too long, then, thump, but my chest hadn't moved. I froze. The light pulsed again, not with me, ahead of me, setting the rhythm. My heart followed, stumbling to catch up, forced into its pace. Thump. My chest obeyed. Thump. Again. A pressure built behind my ribs, as though something inside me was being guided, adjusted. Each beat felt less like my own and more like something imposed. The bulb glowed brighter with each cycle. The room thickened with light, but not in a way that illuminated, rather, it revealed too much. The walls seemed to ripple slightly, their surfaces breathing in shallow, synchronized motions. The shadows no longer clung or stretched, they hovered, suspended, as if waiting. For what? I didn't know. I pressed a hand to my chest. The rhythm wasn't mine anymore. It was coming from the floor. From the bulb. From beneath. A low, wet sound slipped into the hum of electricity, subtle, almost inaudible, like something shifting in a confined space. The floorboard beneath the bulb gave a faint, almost imperceptible rise. Then fell, in time with the light. Thump. The wood lifted slightly, as if something beneath it pressed upward. Thump. It sank back. My stomach turned cold. No, I whispered. The next pulse was stronger. The board lifted higher, the nail head straining, the seams widening just enough for darkness to show through, not empty darkness, but something thick and absolute. Something that moved. I scrambled off the bed, backing toward the door. The bulb pulsed faster again, excited now, the light intensifying until it hurt to look at. The floor responded, rising and falling more violently, each movement accompanied by that same wet, internal sound. Thump thump thump. The wood split. A thin crack snaked outward from beneath the bulb, jagged and uneven. From within it came a faint glow, not from the bulb above, but from below, mirroring it perfectly. Another pulse. The crack widened. I saw something beneath. Not clearly, just texture. Pale, soft, veined, moving, in rhythm, my rhythm, or what used to be mine. The realization came quietly, settling into me with a certainty that left no room for denial. It didn't learn my heartbeat. It taught it. My pulse stuttered. The light faltered for the first time. And in that brief, broken beat, something below surged upward, pressing hard against the fractured wood. The bulb flared, brighter than before. Blinding. And in that white, overwhelming flash, I understood. The light wasn't in the bulb. The bulb was just where it surfaced. Where it touched through. Where it found me. And now that it had my rhythm, it didn't need the rest of me to stay in control. My chest tightened. The next beat came, but it didn't come from inside me. It came from below. Her reflection mouthed something she didn't understand, but it felt like a warning. I didn't notice it at first. The bathroom was dim, lit only by the weak yellow bulb above the mirror, the kind that hummed faintly even when everything else in the apartment was silent. It was late, past the hour when sounds from neighboring rooms faded into nothing, when the pipes settled and the air itself seemed to hold still. I stood at the sink, brushing my teeth, half asleep. The mirror was slightly fogged around the edges, a thin halo of condensation that never quite cleared no matter how long the fan ran. My reflection looked normal, tired, eyes unfocused, movements slow and automatic. I spat into the sink. She didn't. It was subtle, so small I almost missed it. I leaned forward, rinsing my mouth, and in the mirror she followed, but a fraction too late. Not even a full second. Just enough for something in my chest to tighten. I froze. The hum of the light seemed louder suddenly, pressing against my ears. Beneath it, something else, fainter. A vibration, maybe, like distant footsteps traveling through walls. I straightened slowly. The reflection straightened too, perfectly in sync. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding and shook my head. Fatigue, I told myself. Nothing more. I turned the faucet off and watched the last thin stream of water coil down the drain. When I looked back up, she was already looking at me. Not matching me, not reacting, waiting. My throat tightened. I hadn't moved yet. I was still angled slightly toward the sink, shoulders uneven, but the reflection stood square, facing forward, eyes fixed on mine. Then, as if remembering something, she adjusted, tilting her head, aligning her posture to match mine exactly. Too exactly, like she'd corrected herself. A cold thread slipped down my spine. I took a small step back. She did the same. Perfect. I forced a laugh, though it came out thin and brittle. Okay, I whispered, the word barely forming. The sound didn't seem to belong in the room. It flattened, swallowed by the hum. I turned to leave. Something in the mirror moved. Not me, her. I stopped, heart stuttering. Slowly, carefully, I turned back. She was still there, my face, my body, every detail correct, but her expression had changed. only slightly. The corners of her mouth were tighter, her eyes wider, focused on something just over my shoulder. I didn't feel afraid, not yet, but she did. I could see it. Stop, I murmured, though I didn't know if I meant her or myself. The air felt colder now, brushing against the back of my neck. The faint vibration returned, stronger this time, like something heavy shifting far away, yet somehow close enough to feel. I stepped closer to the mirror. She didn't. She stayed where she was for half a heartbeat longer, then moved to meet me. Too late. My pulse quickened. The light above us flickered, not visibly, not in brightness, but in sound. The hum stuttered, rising and falling like breath. I leaned in until my face was inches from the glass. Her lips parted. Mine didn't. Something inside me recoiled, a silent instinct screaming without words. She mouthed something, slowly, deliberately. 3 syllables. I didn't understand them. They weren't any language I knew, not quite words, not quite sounds. The shapes of them felt wrong, like they didn't belong in a human mouth. But I understood the feeling behind them. Run. My breath caught. What? I whispered. She shook her head, not matching me, correcting me. Her movement came first, and then, without meaning to, I followed. My head moved a second later, echoing hers. A delayed obedience. My stomach dropped. No, I said, more firmly now. The reflection's eyes flicked past me again. Over my shoulder. Her fear deepened, raw and immediate, as though she were seeing something I couldn't. I didn't feel anything behind me. Just the cold air, the faint vibration, the low, distant sound, like something dragging across a surface far away. Stop it, I said. She leaned closer to the glass, urgency sharpening her features. Her lips moved again, faster this time. The same phrase, over and over, each repetition more desperate. My chest tightened, my pulse rising. The light's hum matched it now, quickening in uneven bursts. What are you saying? I demanded. She lifted her hand. I didn't. Her palm pressed flat against the inside of the mirror. For a moment, I just stared. Then something in me responded, something not quite under my control. My own hand rose, slower, hesitant, and met the glass. Our palms aligned. Her skin looked pale, too pale, almost translucent, and beneath it, a flicker of movement, not muscle, not veins, something else. I jerked my hand back. She didn't. Her palm stayed pressed to the glass, fingers splayed, trembling. Her mouth moved again. The words slowed, clearer. The shapes of them sharpened, forming something closer to language. Not a warning now, an instruction. Don't turn around. The meaning hit me all at once, heavy and undeniable. I froze. The vibration in the room deepened, becoming a low, rhythmic pulse I could feel in my feet. The air behind me seemed to thicken, pressing forward in slow, invisible waves. I became aware of something else. Breathing. Not mine. Close. Too close. My reflection's eyes widened further, locking onto mine with a kind of desperate intensity. She shook her head again. Don't. I swallowed hard. Every instinct I had screamed to turn, to look, to face whatever was there. But her fear, it wasn't for herself, it was for me. Why? I whispered. Her lips trembled. Then she said it, not mouthed, said. The sound came from nowhere, and everywhere, thin and strained, like a voice forced through a space too small to hold it. Because it's learning you. The breath behind me stopped. Silence crashed down, sudden and absolute. My reflection went still, not frozen, listening, waiting. Then, very slowly, she looked down. At my hands. I followed her gaze. My fingers twitched. I hadn't moved them. A delay. A split between intention and action. Cold flooded my chest. No, I whispered. My reflection looked back up at me, something like grief in her eyes. Her lips moved one last time. It's already using you. My heart stuttered, and for the first time since I'd entered the room, I felt something else move me. A slow, deliberate shift of my shoulders. Turning, I tried to stop it. My muscles resisted, faintly, uselessly, like pushing against a current too strong to fight. In the mirror, she lunged forward, slamming both hands against the glass. Don't. The word tore through the air, raw and broken. But my body kept moving. My head turned. The room behind me came into view. Empty. Nothing there. Just the dim hallway beyond the bathroom door, stretching into darkness. My chest heaved. Relief surged. Brief. Fragile. Until I looked back at the mirror. She was gone. Not gone as in absent. Gone as in replaced. The thing in the mirror stood perfectly still, facing forward. facing me. Its expression matched mine exactly. Its posture, its breathing, its gaze. Perfect, seamless. I swallowed, throat dry. It's fine, I said, testing it. The reflection spoke with me. In perfect sync, no delay, no difference. But behind its eyes, something watched, something that didn't need the mirror anymore. And as I stood there, frozen, I felt my body settle into a rhythm that wasn't quite mine. A stillness, a precision, as if whatever had been behind me was no longer there. Because it didn't need to be. It had already learned how to stand where I stood. And somewhere, deep, beneath that stillness, I felt a faint, distant resistance. Like hands pressing against glass. Trying to get back in.